Hello and welcome to episode number 2 of the Get to Know Your Dragons podcast. My name is Luke Holt and I'm lucky enough to be joined by a very special guest who's made some massive contributions to the club. Greg Holt, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Luke.
It's great to be here. I must admit, it is a little bit strange interviewing your father. It's been a fair bit of work gone into it. I've had to learn more about you than probably needed to know, to be honest. Plenty. But nonetheless, we'll dive straight into the formalities, I guess. You've played a lot of cricket for the club, as everyone knows. You played 154 A-grade matches. You've taken 314 wickets at 22, which is very impressive. You got a best bowling of 8 for 70. Not enough runs for me to worry about, so we'll skip past that. 33 catches. Cricketer of the Year, 1995-96. Club Captain, 1998-99. Long time ago. Best season was 2000-2001, where you took 44 wickets at 13.6. Best bowling of 7 for 50 that year. Fair play.
Nice.
2001-2002 Premiership player, life member at the club, Nuffy bat collector, and lucky enough to be my father. Welcome in.
Thanks, mate. I think the 33 catches, that's probably my favourite bit of that.
Strong effort from fine leg, dare I say, where you would have spent a fair bit of time.
Caught and bowls, mate. You don't drop them. Good
just beating for pace kind of thing.
Yeah, that's it.
Of course. But I guess we'll sort of dive straight into where it all began for you. If you want to just bring us up to speed, I guess, with how things started out for you. What was your first sort of memories of cricket and what got you into it?
Cricket, yes. My dad was a big cricket fan, which probably leads most young boys into it, I suppose. He was a suburban turf cricketer, wicket keeper. There was cricket on at our house during the summer and obviously footy during the winter. Had a brother 3 years older than me, so there was some, fight to the death backyard cricket matches. And eventually, probably as about a 10-year-old, went to the mighty Thornley Lions for my first recognised cricket season. So dad as coach, which ensures you get a game, which is always handy. So.
Love that. You looked after me being our coach.
Yeah, I learned from the best. That's where it started, Thornley Lions.
There you go. And so how did you go from the Thornley Lions then across to the Dragons?
So a couple of seasons there. So I didn't know anything about this at the time, but West Perth Cricket Club sent a letter to Thornley Cricket Club asking for little Greg Holt to come down to their trial day. I think I took a few wickets in my under 11s or 12 season at the Lions.
Left arm, just Mitch Stark, blowing kids' toes off back in the day, no doubt.
No, I'm not sure how it happened, but I think if you could bowl at the stumps, you'd probably be pretty good. Went down to the somewhere in Kelmscott Cricket Nets, I think.
Lovely place, lovely part of the world.
For a tryout, I didn't know that when I was 11 or whatever I was. Down there, and that's where I first met young Mark Hindle and a very large and very talented Aaron Harwood. He was in the nets on the same day. I suppose they would have had 17 or 18 kids turn up from all around the area, various teams, and of course, you know what it's like. You play against other people around the traps, and all of a sudden you learn who the gun players are. So they're all there, and I'm thinking, I'm no open matching it with these blokes. So, just a little 4 foot tall left armour come strolling in and sent a few down and
trying to mix it with big Aaron Harwood.
Yeah,
the duck nuts of junior cricket.
He was a monster back then. I think he was about the same size he is now. Well, that's what it felt like. I was 4 foot tall, so
yeah.
Mark Hindle and I think we got on well from the start because we were both 4 foot tall.
Yep, I certainly remember my early days at the Drags. I was petrified of one Stuart Smith,
big dude,
who's the same size he is now. He used to come steaming in and throw them at you. But
big kids in junior cricket.
Yeah, Prav Basnett, a few other guys like that. Matty Gleeson used to scare me at times.
Frightening character, Matty.
Frightening character. But nonetheless, so got in.
Yeah, so got through that. Got in. They must have picked probably 14 or so. And, which the best part of that was that back in the day, West Perth trained at the Wacker.
West Perth,
yeah. So that was their home ground. The seniors were all around there as well. Wacker being the home ground.
That's incredible.
Mate, I used to catch the bus from Thornley to the Wacker, stroll in there, my little grey Nichols bag tucked under my arm.
That's sensational.
And into the Wacker nets. But the best part was that over the back, there'd often be the Shield team would be training, or if it was the Perth Test match, the Test teams would be training over there, and media and a crowd and all sorts of stuff. So
couldn't imagine that.
Yeah, it was pretty. We thought we were pretty flashed.
Oh, yeah.
I've got a bat over there somewhere full of autographs from all those.
Just the one bat over there. We'll just have a look at it.
That's probably how it started. Yeah, a few
go.
autographs on that. Mr. Lilly, can you sign my bat, please? A bit of that. So yeah, very lucky, and it didn't help us a lot. We did our training for fielding out on the Wacker. So we'd run in, pick it up one hand like millionaires, and practice sliding into the fence and play at some dog track on the
Probably the
on a
actual
Saturday.
fence too, I'd imagine too.
No,
Not a boundary,
no
right?
ropes in those days, mate. Slide into the fence, whip it back in. But yeah, on a Saturday morning, playing at Hague Park or somewhere, never bounced straight like the Wacker.
Going from up here to down here in 3 days' time for a
we're,
Thursday to Saturday.
Got ahead of ourselves there, but anyway.
As any young kid would, training on the bloody Wacker of all places.
Yeah.
Ridiculous,
Brilliant.
ridiculous. So how long were you actually at the Wacker?
Only a couple of years.
Yeah.
Wacker eventually, for whatever reason, decided that's enough, West Perth being at the club. So we got told to best we find a spot out in the suburbs, or we'll find one for you. So I believe I was only a young fella, but my dad did have a bit to do with it back in the day. I think where Gosnells are, Sutherland's Park, I think that was on offer. But I think
It was out of Burrendar and Sutherland's, is that
something like that's
right?
what I believe. Yes, but obviously Sutherland's is a fair way out from where we were. So Willetton was the go, and we actually become Southern Districts because we're about the only real Southern sort of team in those times. No
Rocket science of a name, isn't it?
No Gosnells, no Rockingham. So we were the Southern Districts.
There you go.
So yeah, out to Burrendar, and we had to. I believe the old World Series cricket turf nets come from Gloucester Park to Burrendar. So there's a bit of history for you. So World Series cricket was played on whatever turf you're using at Burrendar 1.
Wow. Those poor blokes.
Yeah. I think it might have dropped off a little bit in the last 50 years. But everyone around the club was out there planting, turf wickets and whatnot. Dad's included, so I remember being out down there for the busy bee days, and I wasn't doing much. I think I was hitting balls and kicking footies with the rest
Sounds
of the
pretty
boys.
good to me.
All the dads were doing the heavy lifting, so there we were, Burrendar.
Burrendar.
Yep.
What a place. What a
Yeah.
place. You've covered some ground. Kelmscott, Wacker, Burrendar.
Thornley chucked in.
Thornley chucked in the middle.
Yeah, Burrendar's pretty good compared to the rest.
Oh, I'm sure it would be above some of the places. But anyway, we sort of go through from... We sort of almost jump past something there. So, under 14s. Had a pretty good year in under 14s.
Yes, the mighty Southern Districts under 14s, undefeated. Our coach, Kevin Loring, he was like a dad to all of us boys, and we would have done whatever he told us to do. He's a great coach and, interested in you as a kid and all these kind of things. So, kind of dream coach, for a young cricketer.
Yep.
And, we would have done anything. And
because he did some stuff at Gosnells as well, is that right?
yeah, he moved on. Once we sort of moved away from the Wacker, he eventually went to Gosnells, did some junior coaching there and some other suburban teams later on. But just a great cricket man, so he guided us to an early flag.
There you go. First one at Southern Districts.
First one, yeah. I'm not sure they racked up too many as Southern Districts.
It was only
but
5 years stint, something like that, wasn't it?
yeah, it was a short period. But we got the first. That's all I can tell you.
Absolutely.
Not that I think I did much. I was a bit part player in those days, and happy to be just around the group and all that. Chip in whenever you get a chance. And
There you go. So was Mark Hindle and Aaron Harwood still in the side then?
Yeah,
so you got
that's right.
3 life members out of that one team,
Yes.
that 1 in 14s flag.
that's not bad. From
That's pretty good.
The Kelmscott Nets, as 11 or 12-year-olds we would have been. 3 life members, who'd have thought.
That's ridiculous.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess going on from your junior stuff, how did you go from going... Well, there wasn't a whole lot in 15 to 17s, I believe. Worth
Not
touching
from
on.
me. I opened the batting. That was pretty.
Oh, open the bag.
Yeah. Mark Hindle and I. Fair to say Mark was a bit better at it than I was, but...
Need someone to clog up one end. They even threw me up to open luck once a couple of years ago.
A couple of stodgy players.
That's all you need.
I think Mark kicked on a bit to
Big
some more
high
stroke
elbow
making.
from you.
Yeah, it's a little bit. Yeah.
Big front shin, maybe.
Yeah, there's a lot of LBWs and bowls, I think, back in the day, but blunted the attack from time to time.
That's all you need. Just know your role, play your role.
Yeah.
But yeah, going on from our junior stuff, going up to the senior ranks, how did you go getting up? Obviously, we know you as a formidable first grade bowler, but was it always smooth sailing going up?
There's a bit of work in between. Like I said, I was just a sort of bit part player most of the time. I think if I wasn't left arm, I'd be still playing at Thornley, I think. But yeah, I spent a lot of the guys my age, kind of Mansfield, Hindle, Harwood, these kind of guys all got up to the A grade level before I did. I did a fair old apprenticeship in third grade, which didn't like at the time, but for all those stuck in the lower grades, I think it was worth its weight in gold. You just don't know at the time, you know. You can't beat doing a good apprenticeship, so you do that, then you get to move up a grade and you're actually ready for it. It's a lot of young, talented juniors sort of get whisked up to the lofty heights pretty quick, and you find out it's actually pretty hard when you get there. So I did a fair bit of learning the craft a bit, and all I could do was bowl 6 balls at off stump. So I honed my skills at that.
There you go.
Which there wasn't a lot to it. Bowl every ball the same at the top of off stump. And back in those days, people were taught if you get a good ball off stump, you need to defend that kind of ball, and I lived off that. So
there you go.
Yep, 6 balls off stump, set of 7-2 field, and boring cricket. Here we come.
Play a shot if you dare. So I guess now that we've got through that, you're up into the first grade side.
Yep.
Debut. How'd you find out? Who'd you play against?
Fell into a first grade game. I think I'd only played a handful of second grade games, and then Jeremy Allen, who was a gun left arm bowler, played a bit of state cricket. He left the club, I think, right at sort of the beginning of the season, or as we're in the lead up to the season. So I got a call up, Holt, you're in. So a bit shocked with that, but rolled into Scarborough at Abbott Park, I believe.
Justin Langer Oval.
Yeah, now it is. Yes, saw a bit of Justin out there. So it was a rain shortened game. Came in for my first delivery, which was an absolute half tracker, and the guy wound up. I don't know who was batting, but he tried to hit it over the playground at Scarborough. Mm-hmm. He took a wild swing at it, and luckily it went 3 mile high, not 3 mile long, and it landed 2/3 of the way to the fence. And I thought that might have been my only over in A grade, but anyway. Yeah, I think I bowled 3 overs for the day. It rained out. I was pretty happy with that.
You take that, to be honest. Yeah.
Got out of there fairly unscathed, and onwards and upwards.
Happy days. And then, so back in those days, obviously there was the pennant cricket side of things, and then there's the Sunday League or Bankwest Cup, whatever we want to call it.
Yeah, it changed names a few times, but Sunday League.
Briefly run us through the difference between those for us, if you can.
The pennant cricket's the Saturday stuff, so I played anything from 90 overs. I think it even got up to 100 overs at one point.
Wow,
which is a big day, big day cricket.
You would have bowled 40 overs if they kept that.
I'm telling you, here's the secret to 30 poles a year for you young fellas. 6 balls at off stump, you are economical. Your captain loves you because you're cheap to run. He will bowl you 20 to 25 overs a day. And if you can't take 2 poles bowling 25 overs, just by chance, there's something wrong with you.
Someone going to chip one somewhere.
2 wickets a game, 150 games, nothing special, mate. Just turn up.
Just rock up. Know your role, play your role.
I'm not sure that'll work that great these days because people find a way to belt you over square leg regardless of what you bowl. But it worked in my day.
That's all you need. That's all you need. Long spells, obviously one of your things. We kind of get a little sidetracked here, but long spells.
Yes, that was...
Longest spell? What have you got for us? What kind of numbers are we looking at here? I know the answer.
It's actually more embarrassing than cool, but I bowled 38 straight. That's for all the first session, all the second session, and into the third session. And
38. So this is a 90 over.
Saturday comp, 90 over game. Subi Floret, world's flattest deck. I think I asked to come off 3 times, and I think at the end I just said, I'm not bowling anymore. And the funniest part was, I can't remember who replaced me. Might have been Michael Edwards or someone like that. Come on, bowls a half-tracker in his first over. Bloke rocks back, skies it, caught.
Classic.
That, people, is why you change the bowl.
That is classic, isn't it?
So toiled away. I think I only got a couple of poles out of 38. And
all you need is 2 a game.
2 a game. 2 a game.
That's all you need.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're out there, captains, change the bowling.
Isaac, don't take me off. But yeah, going back to that, so you played the Saturday against Scarborough in the Pennant cricket, which is the red ball stuff, and then the next day you played on Sunday against South Perth.
Yep. And
this is where we started to get a little taste of some success. Is that right?
Yeah, so I got on the board there, first wicket. Michael the Brizzy, his name was. I don't know. Everyone knows their first, I suppose, and their first wicket. But the best part was that we played South Perth. Coming out number 3 was Wayne Andrews, who was a complete gun at state cricket at that time. And I think he was watching me bowl, thinking, I'm going to belt this little fella all over the park. And same thing, he wound up for a big drive, as he would do, and feathers it to the keeper.
He's going bang, bang early.
Bang, bang early. The state player out early, wandered down the fine leg all by myself at Barrandar, thinking, that's pretty good.
Which end did you normally bowl from? Your clubhouse end?
Into the wind. Into the wind, yes. Yeah. Gavin Brown, you think he's going to bowl into the wind? Not a chance in hell, mate.
Pitch him up, Brownie.
I don't think he even knew what that end looked like, to be honest. But yeah, always into the wind.
There you go.
It didn't make a difference to my pace, let's face it. So,
Fair enough.
But no, I thought I was pretty pleased with that. Yeah. Couldn't wait to get off the ground to go tell my friends.
Oh, I'm sure. Wayne Andrews, heard of that bloke? Yeah, he's in here. Come say good day, boys. Incredible. So, I guess cap presentations and getting awarded your first game was a fair bit different then to it is now. So, number 51 is your play number.
Yep.
I know the story, but how did you go about becoming first grade player number 51? Was there obviously no cap presentation back then?
No, someone frisbeed you a club cap, not a baggie, just a club, cloth, cotton cap, whatever they were.
Lots of ventilation.
It wasn't until the club had a function, I don't know, 20 years ago, and gave out because of this very reason, gave out everyone who'd played an A-grade game, gave them a player numbered cap. Doug Harris being number 1, I believe. Mm-hmm. So we had a big night and handed out everyone, even if you played one game, you're invited along and you got your cap. And so it only in the last sort of 15, 20 years that I realised I was number 51. So.
And it's a real funky cap, the one that you do have. It's probably almost seems too good to wear. Like it's got the silk inside and it's proper rather than what we've got. But
yeah, that's right.
There you go.
So there you go. Yeah, so all the player number thing, that's fairly recent compared to old people like me.
Now you're coming down, giving out caps there left, right and centre. Boys getting you down.
No, obviously that's a great tradition for all clubs, and we see the Aussies do it, don't we, and get your test cap and all these things. And so no, it's a ripper thing to have.
So good. But I guess going on, as I've said a few times now, everyone knows how successful you were. Did you ever get dropped along the way? Were there any lulls?
There was lulls, but we went a strong mob, so getting dropped, not really. I did. I had to go away for work one year and came back. I think I missed 3 or 4 games through work. I was working out in the desert doing Sparky stuff. And come back thinking, well, they've lost the first 3 or 4 when I was away. Not because I was away, but they just lost. Thinking, well, I must be a shot to get straight back in for a bit of a change and, whatever. So come home to an answering machine message. You wouldn't even know what that is, but...
Sounds awesome, though.
From somebody saying, Tuckwater, I think it might have been, saying, sorry, Alty, you're starting in 2s tomorrow. So, yeah, I wasn't happy with that, to be fair. Went down to 2s, didn't do a lot, to be honest.
Set the world on fire.
But before we knew it, managed to find our way back up there.
And then that was probably just about it, really? Just penciled in most of the time, weren't you?
Yep.
I guess?
Yep.
Fair enough.
Lucky.
There you go.
Just lucky.
One more question about your sort of playing days, I guess. Fines trips. Were they a thing? I know that obviously we
Were
went.
they a thing? Yes, they were a thing.
We went to Bali a couple of years ago, and going down south was always our thing. Were there any good ones that you can sort of remember? Did you have a initiation process like we do?
Yes. Well, that's one thing am a bit proud of in my days. As you know, we weren't that successful when I played early on. But what we did along the way, and we didn't realise, set a few traditions rolling, which was, one was the fine strip. We used to go to the Mandurah Holiday Village, or Village, as people, because it sounds a lot flasher. I can't tell you what went on down in those kind of places.
I'm sure. To be there. Yeah, we'll keep it PG for those playing at home.
Blokes like Rambo and Walsh and, these kind of
Walsh. You didn't know the name of a fine strip.
Nah, you had to be there kind of thing. But good tradition, initiations, all those kind of things got started. And, things like the team song. We started the team song in my sort of time at the club.
Started the team song?
Yep. So you probably know there's in Burrendale one change room. I think the footy song used to be on the wall. Is it still on?
Still is. Still there? Rusty old bit of metal on the top.
Blue and white up there.
That's it.
So someone's gone, we need a song. We didn't win much, mate. But so we wanted it. We heard everyone else's song a million times. So we thought, when we win, we need a song. So I don't know who it was. Might have been Todd Lavender and Muddy Waters, those kind of blokes. They're good at that kind of thing. So someone doctored up a few words from the footy song. And that's what you blokes are singing today.
Backman, forward, sentiment into batsman, bowlers, fielders.
In a rocket science.
Get on the X Factor, boys.
That word works. I've heard you lot sing it.
Oh, loud and proud. Don't you worry about that.
Fair to say, it gets sung a bit more now than it did when I played. But when we did sing it, mate, we meant it because it only happened a couple of times.
Ripped the roof off the joint. The real high roof in there, of course.
Yeah. So those kind of traditions, pretty happy to see them, in full flight now, and be a small part of those things that got started. Good. Yeah,
that's so good. Being able to, I guess, look back and see us, and I guess even see me going, Dad, can I go on my first fine strip at 17 with the likes of Walshy and all those sort of guys?
I think Bali's a fair step up from Mandurah Holiday Village.
Yeah. We're going up, as a famous line around the club nowadays, going up. But yeah, I guess speaking of going up, what about going up to the sports club after you've played? So that was obviously one thing that's changed a fair bit from then to now is the sports club existing anyway. That would have been so good.
When Burrendale sort of got started out there, obviously there's basketball, tennis, bowls, cricket, footy, all those things. So back in the day, the sports club ran everything. So if you bought a beer at the bar, the sports club keep the money, and a couple of times a year they would dish out bits and pieces of cash to each of those sporting departments as they saw fit, which made it really hard for you to sort of build your own funds, which was a bit of a problem to the club because, I probably felt sorry for footy boys most because they, as you know, they don't mind a beer over there.
So 24 blokes in a team.
So they would pump in good money over the bar for their own sake. The sports club kept it and dished out little bits and pieces here and there, and they had to pay there was a reception lady at the front door. I don't know if you walk into the front doors of the club room, there's a little booth
around the backside.
Yeah, on the sort of car park side.
Yep.
There's a little wooden booth there.
Yes,
and
there is.
Every day you'd walk in the sports club, day or night, there's a lady sitting there.
No way.
And it's like, where's your membership card, young fella?
Membership
Fish around in your pocket and pull
that.
that out. And you're not coming in. It's an exclusive club, mate. So you're not coming in, without it. So you had to pay your $20 or whatever it was back in the day.
Have the big bucks.
Your sports club membership, and in you'd come. But in there was full running kitchen. You go in there and order a steak or a burger or
Palmy.
whatever. I can't
We're not quite that advanced, but
yeah, not when you're 14, but
fair enough.
So it was a pretty flash pace, and but eventually that sort of got worn down to all right. Well, now the clubs can now sort of keep your own money, and which we've been pushing for a long time because then we can sell our own drinks and make our own money, and whatever we spend we keep, that's all anybody wants. But it was flash in the day, mate.
There you go. I guess one of the other things the sports club did was the Sports Star of the Year award, which one Greg Holt might have got his hands on in 1998.
Yeah, I think I just knew a few people at the club, really. I don't know. They used to, it was apparently sort of, some exemplary player across all divisions, footy, basketball, tennis, all those things. So for some reason I got dragged into some event and they gave me the award. So
crowned you victorious.
yeah, that was nice at the time. Yeah.
There you go. But I guess going past some of the fun stuff, we've sort of briefly touched on some fines trips and the fun at the sports club, but there's also a pretty dark era for the Drags that you probably saw plenty of. I guess there's one thing that springs to mind, which is a certain meeting that was called in 1992, 93. Can you
it was about that time. We got called to a meeting at the club upstairs, I believe. I don't think I've ever been up there before or since, to be honest.
I didn't even know there was an upstairs area.
It's that little booth I was talking about. Just the other side of that is some stairs. You go up there. Anyway, it's a big room up the top.
I'm going to find that.
Yeah, we might have to do it together.
Yeah, Sydney Canning better not watch this.
Anyway, we got called to the club meeting. And the board came in, stood up the front and said, fellas, we are in the bottom couple in every grade. We have no money. We don't see a future for the place and we're wrapping it up. Thanks for coming. We're done. And
everyone just be jaws dropped.
Everyone's just like, going, what? Well, I was only a player there. I didn't sort of follow the board carefully as you do. You're a young fella trying to
rock up, pay your fees,
play as good cricket as you can, and don't know the finances of the club or who's doing what, but having now been on the board for a couple of years, I see what it actually takes to run a club, and there's a lot. But back in the day, I was shocked for everybody. It's just what do you mean we're done? Where am I going to play now? I'm not going to Gorsnells. So eventually, there and then on the night, a fellow by the name of Chris Smith put his hand up and said, well, thanks very much, fellas, but that's rubbish, and I'll be the president, and we're not folding. We're going ahead, and I'll band together a group, and we'll push on.
That's incredible courage.
It was amazing. He was at the 40th anniversary dinner last year. So a bloke like that sticks up his hand and goes, yeah, thanks fellas, I'll do it. That saved the place, full on. So from there we had people like Andrew Robertson, Kelvin Mansfield, Mark Hindle, Cliff Hindle, Mark's dad. These kind of fellas all sort of fashioned a board together pretty quick, and in time to come, people like Alan Griffiths and a stack of people over time sort of pushed us on to where we're heading now. And but yeah, it's a bit of a shock. Imagine whatever you're doing down there now may not have happened, but for a couple of people going, bullshit, I'll do it.
That's
pretty crazy.
You can't even think about that. You can't even think about one being called into a room. Imagine Carlos brings it all in. Righto, boys.
I've had enough.
We're all done.
I think if they had just said, look, we don't see a way forward and we're stepping down as a board, good luck with your projects, fellas, but we're out of here. People could understand that. But just to go, well, we're in the process of winding it all up and we're done. No, mate. You don't get to make that decision.
Not the Dragons, mate.
Not the Dragons. Dragons, no, we push on.
That's so good.
So, yeah.
As a result of being obviously quite a weak club across the board, did that sort of affect people? Like, did people leave the club, like players, some of your players leave the club?
I guess
people start to then come in, maybe as a chance to get opportunities at playing first grade cricket and things like that? Did that help at all?
I'm not sure how the process worked for particularly the West Perth, say A graders when we shifted from the Wacket to Burrendar. I don't know that the process was all that smooth because a lot of them sort of came and maybe played just 1 or 2 years and then decided it's a new place, it's probably not for me, and moved on. People like Keith Shepherd and Bomber Riley and Doug Harris, these are gun A-grade players, didn't sort of hang too long with us. They sort of, and they would have got great offers from other clubs, I'm sure, but don't hang with those blokes, come and play with us. So pretty quickly we turned into just a real young club of just tryers, but it just hence that period of, holding the club together, we started to find our way through with people like Tuck Waldron come to the club, and 3 Queenslanders turned up in the mid-90s there, and we started to get some blokes with some real character, and we mightn't have won a lot of games, but we had a lot of fun.
Who were our 3 Queenslanders that rolled into the club?
Well, Mark Walsh was the first of them. Him and Susie come travelling across the Nullarbor. I've heard a rumour that Tuck Waldron might have had a bit to do with sending Walsh in the right direction of the Dragons through Australian country cricket kind of stuff.
Okay.
How true that is, I don't know, but I'm running with it.
We'll take it. Thanks, Tuck.
So Walsh, he ends up at the club, and we all know what he's like. He's a good character, good funny guy, and super cricket brain and some talent as well. So we lucked in there. And then his mate, Big Scotty Ramsey, was travelling around Australia with a mate. And he gets to Perth. And I went across there to Walsh's place to watch State of Origin, funnily enough. I'm thinking, what's this rugby crap they're talking about? Anyway, had to go for Queensland for some reason. And Rambo was there, and this big, giant, 7-foot fella, funny as anything, kind of bloke. And he's like, yeah, I'll play.
You can only imagine the stories he would have had from the trip too.
As he is today, that's what he was like back then. He's like, nah, bro, I'm going around Australia. I'm like, bullshit. You're 7 foot tall. You open the bowling with me. So anyway, for whatever, I don't know how it happened, but anyway, he ends up staying. So there we got two of them.
So he just dropped his mate.
I have no idea what his poor mate did travelling around Australia on his own. I don't know if that continued or not. Don't care either. So then we've bagged two of them. And then Mick Jers, we all know Mick Jers. I don't think we need to go into that too much, but he's a ripper. And he came across and, he's landed here, having known Walshy and Rambo from Townsville as well. So 3 Queenslanders rock in a very short space of time. And as we all know, ripper blokes and bringing some cricket talent as well. That's, exactly what the club needed. And the good times rolled.
Off we go. And then not too long after that, one Brad Hogg rolled across as well from
Hoggy,
Melville or Fremantle.
We used to get him out all the time for bugger all. You ask him. And,
might have to.
I think it was the old, if you can't beat him, join him. And for whatever reason, we managed to talk him across to the Dragons. And so you can see now we're starting to build, A, some talent, B, some good characters and fun around the place. And it started to be a real great place to be.
There you go. And I guess we'll jump across into 1998-99 season where Greg Holt was announced as the captain of the club.
Yes,
he was. How was that experience?
Well, I sort of fell into it, as you can imagine. Mark Walsh was the captain. He was courted by South Perth to come across there and sort of further his cricket. He was, dead set on becoming a state cricketer, and so he left to go to South Perth and was a wicketkeeper across there, and it worked a treat for him, and it was the right thing to do for him personally for his cricket, and he did play state cricket from there, which was awesome effort to stroll across the other side of the country and try and forge your way into state cricket, and he got there and he did it, so that was awesome. But it left a bit of a gap there, and sort of Hoggy probably would have done it, but he was in the thick of state cricket with WA, so the people to choose from were becoming thin. So Greg Holt, you're it. Which was interesting times, but I can't say I was born for the job.
Yeah, not a very productive year, I guess, having two.
Are you alluding to my one win for the year?
I might be. But yeah, having guys like Mark and Hoggy being just taken out of the side or not being as strong part of the club as Hoggy would have been, playing all kinds of cricket as he does. Not a recipe for success.
Idea. Well, through my early days, we had Mark Lavender as the captain, and he was an absolute jet player, and we loved him as well. He was a bloke who actually, he's a genuine cricketer. We're all just sort of wannabes, you know what I mean? So he was a fully fledged state gun batsman. So he led the way early for us, and then sort of Walshy come along and did that job for us, and Hoggy's experience and his talent sort of helped us out as well. So, but then I found my way to holding the reins and just got the one win for the year, mate. But we beat the eventual premiers. Our one win was against Bayswater, who went on to win it. So I can claim, we could.
Must be nice beating Bayswater. Jeez, we're supposed to be better than Bayswater for a long time, still can't beat him. You blokes shouldn't be beating them and beat him. Maybe that's just how our rivalry works.
Yeah, well, that's
an underdog's game.
If you're going to beat anyone, might as well be the premiers, I suppose.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So I guess not having a successful year, were there many conversations with presidents or coaches or things?
Yeah, I spoke with Ronnie Kakura, who I think was president about that time, that we needed a coach. I think he approached me and goes, Holly, I think we need a coach. I'm like, shit, yeah, Ronnie, I think you're right.
Yeah, look at this record, 1-14.
Well, funnily enough, we had Jeff Marsh take the reins for a very short time. We thought, we've got the former Australian cricket coach coaching the Dragons. How good is this? Young Sauce in the team who's, we can all see from the minute he picked up a bat, he's going to be a gun. So he was just sort of going through his teenage years, and Swampy Marsh announced Willetton first grade coach. We're like, this is Christmas. Unfortunately, a few weeks later, he got the job at Sri Lanka or one of them, I believe. And they might have paid him a little better than the Dragons.
Sounds about right.
Even a Pirate Coke was probably more than we offered him. But eventually, so he's gone, yeah, thanks, fellas, that was great. But, moving on to a test nation. Okay,
fair.
No worries.
No worries.
So there was a bit of a gap there. One win for the season when I was sort of taking the reins. Ronnie's gone, do you think we need a coach? I'm like, yes. I hadn't had a proper coach since I was in under-17s. That's just not how it was done for us. And
it's wild to think that. Under-17s, that's like 9-10 years since then, and you didn't have a coach.
No, it was all just work it out for yourself. You talk to, your other A-grade mates or people around the club, or, Tuck Waldron, he captained for a little while, and he was captain coach, really. He put a few things in place which helped us. But, no actual coach was rubbish. So if we wanted to go anywhere, we needed a bit of guidance. And the year after that, that's what we got.
You got a coach. And so Kim Hagdorn
came in, yep.
Across from South Perth?
Yep, he was a South Perth coach. So back comes Mark Walsh, Kim Hagdorn as the coach, and one Sean Carey, who was a complete gun. State bowler, outswing, another 6'4" bloke, can do everything. So those three people came to the club, and we were basically an overnight success after that.
That's pretty handy, I'd imagine.
Yeah, state wicketkeeper, state opening bowler, and a fully fledged coach Hags was a hard man, so which we needed. I mean, some of it I wasn't a big fan of, but he made us win games of cricket from the sidelines. I was too scared to lose, seriously, because he was the kind of coach that if you played a crap shot and you started walking off, he would be in the door frame of the Barrendale 1 change rooms, and you had to get past him to get in. Take your pads off.
Too scared to lose. Coach waiting for you.
There's a quote for you.
Yeah, I'm going to write that on the wall.
No, and it was the standards we didn't have to that point, which was why we were crap, mate. So as much as some people got some truths that they didn't like, we improved out of sight in a very short time. No more, mucking around at training or, not training hard and not trying to improve and stuff. And he was never putting up with that. If anyone knows Kim Hagdorn, he's a straight up character, and he'll tell you if you've stuffed it up, you'll know. And which is what we needed, which was awesome. So yeah, we went from zero to hero.
That's handy.
Yeah,
real handy.
Yeah, it was handy. Yep.
So I guess going that year, no major success. Obviously, just improving still. New coach, getting some new players in.
Good young players. I think there was a young Matt Johnson was coming through the junior setup. Like I said, young Sauce was there. Ollie Stacey, a few of these other guys you could see him coming, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I was like, if a few of us old boys could hang on, me included, a couple more years. Instead of losing most weeks, we might be winning most weeks.
And sure enough, the winning kept on rolling. We go across into the 2000-2001 season where you started to get a bit of a taste of success and a taste of finals cricket and things like that a lot of you guys would have been starved of for a long period of time, being in an average side. Yep. How was that year?
2000, 2001. Did we make the one-day final that year? Yeah. So we're starting to win pennant games, and we were pretty handy at the white ball stuff as well. We were up the top end of the ladder for a change. So the tricky part was navigating, Walsh and Carey still being and Hogg still being with state cricket in and out. So on a good day, as you know now with Bangers and Hards and Darcy and these kind of blokes, it's a big deal if you get the three guns in, you're a big chance.
Yeah.
If not, it's hard work.
Yeah.
So we had them enough to be a decent sort of presence in the comp, and found our way into the one-day final, which was massive because I'm like at the end of my days, my back's cooked and bowling 38 straight. That'd take 2 years off your career.
And the rest.
So yeah, I'm thinking, this is probably my last year, boys. So let's push this as far as we can go. And so rapt to be playing a final under lights at the Wacker. Grade cricket was my test cricket. I knew from an early age I'm not playing any higher than first grade. I was surprised I got there, to be honest. But so I played it like this is it. You know what I mean? So to get a final at the Wacker, unfortunately we come up against the Hussey brothers, which in grade cricket they're hard to beat. At the Wacker they're even harder to beat.
Yeah, that's they're a couple of blokes that you'd probably not like to be bowling to on the Wacker in a grand final. What's Mike Hussey like under pressure? Is he?
I think he comes through.
Does all right, doesn't he?
Comes through. Most of the time. Yeah.
Unreal. So I guess also, that's the 50 over sort of side of things. You also did well in the pennant cricket, as you said.
Yes.
So you come up against our favourite, Bayswater Morley.
Yeah, that's my first pennant final. My favourite cricket ever. Second favourite. First final, ripper, pennant, we're on, So we win the toss and we bat, and we bat, and we bat, and we bat. Brad Hogg makes 285.
Wild.
The Dragons make about 6 for 400 and something. And that in those days, for finals, you could bat until you were bowled out. So we batted a day and a half.
Draws, and you had to beat the person above you, is that right?
You had to beat us, because we finished top. That's why we're playing at home. So Hoggy, he would still be batting if he wanted to. So we made 400 and something, and they had two sessions or a session and a half to get them, and they've gone.
All the best, boys.
Thanks a lot, fellas. We're done. Into the bar. Brilliant.
Happy
days.
That
was my first pennant final. We won. I didn't have to take the field. Brilliant.
That's sensational.
On we go.
So good.
Yeah, real good.
So end of that year, what happened end of that year? Apparently there was a little decision made by yourself.
Yeah, so we didn't win the one-day final, which was sad, but rapt to be there, to be fair, thinking...
Full circle moment, finish where it started.
Yeah, I've had enough wooden spoons. Let's finish under lights at the final. But anyway, we made it to, we beat Bayswater, and then we played Wanneroo, the Hussey brothers again. Actually, I can't remember if David played, but yeah, we come up at Fletcher Park against Wanneroo. And Hoggy made 285 one week and made a duck the next.
Cricket.
I'm not... 140 odd in both digs probably would have seen us into the grand final, I would have thought, George. Put all his eggs in one basket, George. But yeah, so we made a mediocre. We made about 200, I think. So probably not enough against the Hussies at Fletcher. Sure enough, we come unstuck there. So Mike Hussey proved very hard to dismiss. Thanks, Ump. I can tell you.
Hang on. Rewind.
No, if you're just a little nobody left arm trundler and you hit, the international star on the pads in front of the pegs, you can scream all you like, mate. You're probably not getting it in the semi-final. And I didn't. Yeah. I'm sure Mike didn't think it was out anyway, but probably scored enough runs in his life. He could have given me that one, I would have thought. Anyway, we didn't win. And that's it. Holt hung up the boots. Thanks for coming. Happy with that.
The boots. So, I guess that's a serious roller coaster for anyone to go on. Obviously, coming in, start at the Wacker, get kicked out to Burrendar, work your way out through the ranks, get told the doors are closing, scratch and fight your way through.
Oh, don't remind me.
And then make your way back up into becoming a pretty strong team.
Yeah, well, you'd rather at that. I think to be crap at the start and good at the finish. Yes. That's the way to go.
That's hard.
I wouldn't like to go the other way. But so that was probably it for me. So I went the following year to play threes. I'd been whinging all along that people would hang up the boots and wander off into the sunset, which of course they're entitled to. But having some, more mature players down the grades would have helped, because clubs like Perth were really good at having older, experienced players down the grades, and they would just help their young fellas through and, do good things in the crucial moments, get teams across the line. And we hadn't really had that, so I thought, well, I better, if I'm going to whinge about it, I better do it myself. So.
Well, I guess we saw the result of that with guys like Aaron McCall, Chris Elliott, Chris Thagana won back-to-back third-grade flags.
And that's why we do, because now
Look
blokes are doing those things, giving back to the club, as they say in the old days. And that's how you win, you know. So an experienced head to guide the young talent through and teach them the right way and all those things. So, yeah, I was the specialist number 7 or something in the threes for a season. Yeah.
How'd you go in the threes? Smack around the park?
No. I was pretty handy on the coin toss, I think. No, I don't know.
Can you come back and toss the coin for us? Isaac's no good.
I don't remember doing much at all, to be honest, but I hung around, gave him my best shot.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
But I guess, as you said, played threes all year, but somehow managed to work your way into a special photo holding a little yellow triangle.
Yeah,
how on earth did that happen?
Massive parachute in it right at the finish. So
great play.
The boys were a gun side. Haven't had another great season of pennant cricket and the one-day cricket. We had Andy Gray, who was a very good spinner for us, and he had a county contract. So I think they knew fairly early on that he wouldn't be around for the final if we made it, because he had to go back and do pre-season over there. He's a contracted player or whatever. So that opened up a gap in the side for somebody. So I got a whisper that, you know, if you start bowling in threes and show a bit, you know, you might be in a position to be picked, kind of thing. So did my ears prick up. So anyway, started taking, you know, the ball in the threes and never looked like getting a wicket. I can tell you that. A bit of playing missing, but yeah, didn't exactly set the world on fire down there. But anyway, rolled the arm over and showed some interest, and he then started training with the big boys for a few weeks leading up to the final. Crossing my fingers that I could sort of parachute in at the business end. So yeah,
and you did.
And I did, yeah. So, mate, what a ridiculous story. I've no idea how or why they chose me. There was obviously in that kind of kind of time, there's people everywhere going, "Oh, pick me, I'll play," you know. But anyway, got the nod from Jarrah and Walshy and whoever else was running the show back then. So
from your mates,
from a good, they're real good mates now. So parachuted in. That was the start of Jarrah's. You know, well, he'd been doing it a couple of years. He took over from Hagdorn. So Jarrah was running a tight ship, and that's, you know, we were winning games of cricket, and he was sort of leading the way in, you know, all facets of, you know, towing the line and improving training standards and training methods and all those things, and that sort of came through the whole club really. So by that time, you know, we're starting to make finals and the whole club's rolling really. So exciting, and here I am in another final under lights at the Wacker. Orange ball.
Orange ball.
Orange ball. Yeah.
We should have gotten it.
Don't tell Jarrah. I did steal, and there's one on the shelf over there. Don't tell him I got one.
He's still complaining about people stealing cricket balls, as you can imagine.
Yeah, here I am telling him he's setting higher standards as blokes like me stealing his cricket balls. But sorry, Jarrah, I did steal. It's only a training ball, but I got one.
You got to get one.
So yeah, they picked me. How good is that? So rocked into the Wacker for the final against Melville, who were pretty handy side.
The Stormers.
Folgers, Mascarenas, Mulemans, I think, were there. So a handy lineup. And that was the days when you could play 12 in the team. So my job was to... I didn't have to bat because Walshy made 120 not out, that is how you win finals.
Thank you, Walshy.
Thank you, Mark Walsh. One of your finest. So yeah, Dragons win the toss, we bat, runs on the board.
Runs on the board in the final, hard to beat.
120 not out. I can't remember our team total. I think 240 odd back then was a pretty decent score, so somewhere around there. We take to the field, and Holt's sitting there cooling his jets in the change rooms while the boys take the field.
That's an awesome term for a grand final. No worries, boys. I'll just sit here. I'll just drop in, and you guys do all the hard work. I'll just sit here in the aircon. How good,
mate? I was pretty nervous. I
hadn't
got nervous bowling before, really, apart from that very early on. But you know, my process is pretty simple and pretty hard to stuff up, to be honest. So, come my turn to bowl, you get a call from the change rooms. Out you come. and chucked the ball. No time for settling in the field for 3 or 4 hours.
Who was the captain then?
Walsh.
So Walsh is giving it this time up the shed.
Something like that. Yeah.
That's incredible.
On you come. So, come strolling out, which was awesome in itself because I can tell you what, our whole club was there and having batted first, by the time come Dragons time in the field, the boys were pretty lubricated. And, it was entertaining stuff.
Who were some of the formidable forces on the sidelines? I've sprung that on you.
I don't have to pick any out. The whole club was there.
Straight bat. Well played.
Very straight bat.
Well played.
I was busy. I didn't get time to look around.
Yeah. Look at you go. So you come on.
Yep.
You get a crack.
Yeah, nervous.
Run us through it.
These blokes have picked me out of 3rd grade. If I stuff this up, this is just embarrassing. So I just thought if the first ball goes where it's supposed to go, I'll be fine. Be right. But if it doesn't hit the cut strip, it could be trouble. Anyway, went where it was supposed to go and had a good night and bowled in partnership with Silge, Big Silge. And we took a stack of poles between us. Well, he took them all.
2 for 14 off 10.
2 for 14 off 10. And Silge took 4 for 30 or something at the other end.
Ridiculous.
Struck at the other end.
Ridiculous. You can't, if you got a bloke make 100, 2 blokes bowl there 20 overs for 6 for 40. Yeah, you've got to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Who got the big wickets? Obviously, you mentioned Voges, Mascarenas in there.
Yeah, I got Voges out. That was my last wicket. So
how out?
Caught Walsh bowled on.
It's just written in the stars, isn't it? It's just written in the script.
Yeah, that was nice. I think he was the gun player in the league. I think he might have won the Ollie Cooley that year. So it was like we were, by the time my 10 overs was nearly done and Silge had wrapped up most of the middle order, we were looking good. So I'm going to get this Voges bloke out.
Yeah.
We should be fine. So, we got him out. And my 10 overs are done, mate. So see you later. That'll do me. So I was on the field for 20 overs of the game.
No way.
Go back to the shed, watch the boys bring it home. And, the Dragons have come through with some silverware.
So good. So who else was in the team?
Muddy Waters.
Obviously, we got the big photo up there.
If
you need a little extra hand.
No, like I said, they were a gun side. So, young Sauce, Johnny Saunders, young Matt Johnson in the side.
So good.
All these guys have started the club as time went on after that. The old dogs. We had JJ Eldmiga from Holland.
Good enough.
I've called him worse. He'll get that. He'll be okay with that. So JJ, that's why we call him JJ, because no one could say the rest of it. So he was our import for the year from Holland. Ripper fella. So he was there. Jarrah, the coach, obviously. Neil Gardner, our gun scorer, he was out there at the finish line. So just a ripper day, and the Dragons have finally got some silverware. So
they've got it.
Yep. I come running out to the middle after we've won, and Muddy Waters hands me a stump. Because, you grab the stumps at the end. So I'm thinking, well, I'm no chance to get one of them. I'm not even on the field. So I ran out there. Muddy gives me a stump.
So and it's just over here.
One of my prized possessions.
That's so...
Thanks, Mud.
I didn't actually know that. I didn't know that Muddy gave it to you. That's it.
Yeah, how good.
That's
he could have kept it for himself. A legend bloke.
Unbelievable. The Dragons. Celebrations.
Oh, well...
Again, straight bat if you can, or if you'd like to. Preferably tell us all the nitty gritty. But
obviously, being a little grade cricketer, I didn't spend much time in the WACA change room. So to me, this is a foreign place for a start. But we had that many people crammed into the change rooms. It was in the printable stand in the day.
Okay.
Yeah. So don't think they're there anymore. But they're definitely
not there actually. Yeah.
Everyone's crammed in there. I think someone said at the start of the game that if we win this, Silge, we're cutting your ponytail off. So Silge had his luscious locks.
He's gone through that phase a few times, hasn't he?
He loves it. But they got the chop that night, I can tell you. So he got up on the massage table and did a big We Are Warriors rendition.
Is that where it starts? Is that the first one that
that's
you can
probably
remember?
One of the first times I'd heard
I guess
it.
you didn't really win a whole lot, I guess. So. With all due respect.
We've been through that. Yeah, so I think a few grandmas and grandpas.
Got their eyes open to a few things.
I hope the lyrics sort of got past most of them, but
Yeah.
fair rendition, I got to
Oh,
tell you.
you can only
And,
imagine. Lots of people in a small space.
Yeah.
Volume.
Loud.
Up.
The song was sung about 5 times, and beer and champagne and shit going everywhere. And, they're the kind of things that, you hear about other clubs doing. And finally it was our turn to have a crack at it. So,
lift the roof off the joint.
Yeah. Yeah, we made the most of that.
Unbelievable. Well, that's pretty close to the end of the timeline, I guess, from your playing days. So one thing that obviously I've taken over this show from Bex. One thing I wanted to bring in was a show and tell option.
Oh, yep.
You've got your little item next to you here, which we've
told
pre-planned.
me I need to grab something for a show and tell.
So if you can grab that for us.
Yes.
And run us through what you've got.
I'm going to need my glass. You'll get
old.
to this point at some stage.
Bloody old man.
55, that's what happens.
Hold it up to the camera once you've read it out.
So this here is a bottle of port to commemorate the Southern Districts Cricket Club from 1983. Now, I'll read you what it says here. A fine tawny port. I'll take their word for it being a fine tawny
Not so
port.
fine.
Bottled to commemorate the amalgamation of West Perth and Willetton cricket clubs to form Southern Districts Cricket Club, known as the Dragons.
So that's the point where Willetton or West Perth became the Dragons.
Went to Barrandar and become the Dragons. There it is in print. And I'm not sure there'll be too many of these floating around. They sort of got these out at the very start. So my dad got that. I didn't know he had it. So it's special to me because, one, he's not here anymore, and two, there's probably about none left.
Incredible.
Jared might have one, or Mark Hindle, or whatever, but one of my favourite things for sure.
There you go.
There you go.
That's pretty cool. I remember, it's obviously been around here for as long as I can remember, but without really understanding what it actually means and what it is, to then be able to sort of read it. I would have only been a couple of years ago, I read it again and went, holy shit, that's proper. That's proper memorabilia. That's like top.
When we get our
tree.
flash new clubhouse, I might find a shelf to put it on at the club. Maybe.
Yeah.
Fucking
Or just lock it up here.
Be in a par with it.
But no, that's
it's a beauty. Yep.
so good. I guess that pretty much wraps it up. I got a few little generic questions just to kind of lighten it up before we fully bring it to a close. So we'll just roll through a couple little questions here, just so that everyone can sort of get to know Greg Holt on a slightly personal
they'll love
level.
that.
Yeah, I'm sure. We'll try and go somewhat rapid fire here.
Righto.
Coffee order.
Hit me. Flat white, boring. Just you know me.
Yep. Best international cricketer in your opinion?
Mitchell Johnson, Mike Hussey, and
Left armer, left-hander.
Doug Bollinger.
Backyard special. Childhood hero, can be any sport.
Peter Brock, Kim Hughes, Dennis Lilly.
Strong.
Wayne Johnson from the Blues. Mm-hmm. I could go on it for you.
I'm sure you can. Favourite beer?
Carlton Dry.
Go the Blues. 3 Dragons you just loved playing with?
Scott Ramsey, top of the tree. Ooh, there's
a
lot of people at the top of the tree.
Yeah. Feel free to throw a couple extras out there. I'll let you.
Mark Walsh, Matt White's a ripper. The Klein Dog offers a lot of humour.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, there's
some sick humour, but some good humour too.
There's people at the club you just love, don't they? Grub, Goon.
Yep, fantastic.
Jarrah.
Favourite holiday destination?
Can I stop now?
Yeah, I'm moving on. Favourite holiday destination?
Dirk-Hartog Island, best fishing place on the planet.
Jesus.
Trust me.
Backyard cricket setup?
Oh, Thornley. Long driveway, long concrete driveway. The only exciting bit about our cricket was we had about 5 balls to choose from at the bowler's end and a bucket of water. So there'd be a fluffy tennis ball for a bit of spin. No one bowled leg spin in those days. I'm talking early 80s.
Why would you waste your time on that shit?
That is shit. Off spin with the fluffy one. There's a short-haired, harder one that you dip in the water when they're not looking. So you get a bit extra zing off the deck. A swing ball and one with no fur at all. You could just miss the ball.
Launch it.
So, ferocious games with the brother. It was wild stuff.
Unreal. Any fancy rules that you had or lack of rules?
Nah,
One hand, one bounce, that type of
No,
thing?
one hand, one bounce of shit.
You
got
never
to catch it.
Yeah, we never played
There's none of that rubbish. 6 now over the fence, you know.
Classic.
Hit it into the pool. That's automatic out. And we had a big tin shed sliding door behind us, so if you nick it, hit that, bang. And
Schnick.
there's no, I didn't catch it. You're gone, mate. See you later.
Caught Walsh bowled Holt from day one. And I guess my final question, how on earth did a left-arm seamer create a leg spinner? How have you gone from giving it these ones to making me do this?
I'll apologise to all my mates who watched me bowl for I don't know how long. Boring. Just left arm. I told you, same spot. Bring them forward, make them defend it. Boring shit. So I thought, if I'm going to have to watch this young fella play cricket, A, you can bat and whack it hard. You're only average at that. Still.
Yeah, cheers.
There's no way you're bowling seam up because you're not going to be 6'4". So, and this is a time Hoggy's dominating world cricket. And Warnie's a gun. I'm like, mate, leg spin, that's the way forward in cricket. And that's you. So best you start learning, kid.
There you go. Up and over.
And you're still learning.
Certainly am. But yeah, I guess thanks again for making the effort to come on, or come all the way from the couch out in the living room to come in here and sit down and talk a bit of dribble with me.
Thanks for inviting me to my own house to have a chat with you.
I appreciate you making the time for me. But no, like I said, it's a pretty odd feeling interviewing your dad. So no, it's nice to get it done. Hopefully there's a few more of these that we can bring in. I've got guys like Callan Bond and Matt Johnston. I'm hopeful to get you two blokes on here. That's my next step. So
Mark Walsh,
be ready. Mark Walsh, righto. I'll keep that in mind.
Even if he says no, just drag him in here.
By the year. He's not too far away. We can get him.
He's 500 yards away.
But yeah, like I said, that's just about it for me. Is there anything that you wanted to add and yourself?
I just want to say that how far the club's come, mate. You see, we heard the story, as some of it's probably boring. If people are still listening, we've come a long way, and it's, people like Jarrah have just dragged this place forward to, we're a powerhouse now. So, for all the things we still whinge about at our club, we could do this, we could be better at that. Mate, this club's looking at us going, we want to be like Willetton. What are they doing, Where in the old days, everyone wanted to play Willetton round one, that's 4 wins. So we've come a long way, and nothing makes me more proud than sitting back on a Thursday night under the little veranda there, sipping my beer, watching a sea of blokes in full fancy Dragons kit, all trying to get better at cricket and, getting themselves to some wins here in our club song.
So good. Look, thanks again to everyone for tuning in, and over and out.
Thank you.
Go the Drags.
Yeah, cheers.